You want to read this one, Tiff? This one's got you
Sure.
written all the way over it.
This is from Molly Mall. Hey, Molly. She said, would you use your emergency fund to buy investment property, which will provide immediate monthly income, or sit on emergency fund until you have more liquid assets to invest? So Molly wants to know,
Mm.
she has this emergency fund. Should she invest it to buy investment property, or should she, just continue to keep it saved? Here's the thing, Mal. And a lot of people struggle with this. Even my own company, there was a little tussle between me and one of my co-founders.
Ooh,
Um,
a Tesla.
that not in a bad way, but he wants. We have an emergency fund, and oftentimes he's like, "Ah, I don't want it to just sit there. We should basically put it to work." And I am of the school of thought is the purpose of an emergency fund is for emergencies.
Yeah.
So not to say you can't put some of it to work, but what if there's an emergency? So let's just say, God forbid, we enter into a recession. Oh, wait, we're here. And
Mhm.
then, you lose your job or something. And now, although that money is in this property, and certainly maybe the property will pay you whatever, $1,200 a month, let's just whatever, but the emergency might call for more than that. Like, it's almost like it is okay to give your money a job and just have it have a singular focus. The purpose of an emergency fund is not to yield you money. It is literally just a safety net. It's not like you're not using the safety net to also fish with. Like, oh, well, it could be a fishing net while I wait for the safety net. Well, by the time you have that out on the lake, you might actually need it for when you're going to fall later. And so I like emergency funds to stay emergency and then continue to save. And then you can use investment money as investment money, because the nervousness is that if something actually happens, you won't have the funds readily available. And here's the thing, as someone who's bought an investment property who was like, oh, in a few months we'll have money coming in. It's been 2 years, because you don't know what can happen. The city might change some ordinance, if there might be more work to be done in the house, you might have a hard time finding a good tenant. There's so many things that could go wrong before you actually start to reap the financial benefits. And so
Mm.
emergency fund should stay emergency. Let's just say you had a whole year's worth of emergency fund, and then you say, okay, I'm going to take 6 months of it, or I'm going to take 9 months of it and leave 3 months for emergencies. Then that's different. But I would not sink my full emergency fund into investments.
It's like you're getting a little impatient,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like you've got this money sitting there and you're thinking about it too much. I like to not think about my emergency fund at all. Just forget it exists. That's why I kind of have it in like an online only bank account that I can't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily just go easily and take it out. Yeah, you're thinking about it too much. You just want to like not think of it until you absolutely need it. And I mean, God forbid it'd kind of be like it'd be like if I decided I'm feeling really healthy this year, I'm just going to not pay for health insurance.
Girl.
But we would never tell someone to do that, right? Because anything could happen, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, and this could be whether you were in, I think maybe you feel like, oh, it's okay because it's an investment property and it's
Mm-hmm.
smart. But I would tell you the same thing if you were like, I want to go on vacation, and dip into my
Mm-hmm.
emergency fund. I'd probably be like, maybe don't think about that. I think
Mm-hmm.
you've proven that you can save, like Tiff
Yeah.
said. So just do it again, you know?
Yes.
And it's not like properties are going anywhere. Maybe in your area, maybe you're worried prices are going to be going up. That's fair. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, it's not always the right time for you individually to start
Mm-hmm.
investing in a certain asset.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't sound like, and I also feel like it depends on how much like if you're going to be buying this property cash or if you're going to be
Mm-hmm.
taking out a loan, the bank may want to see that you have a lot of cash on your books so that, or in
Mm-hmm.
your bank account to even approve you for the loan. So
Yeah.
draining, like if they know you're going to be draining your cash fund to
Mm-hmm.
get that home or get that property, they may not even give you the loan. So that's another thing to potentially think about.
Yeah. And literally,
It,
we're in the middle of probably going to be needing our emergency funds. Typically
yeah.
people don't get a little heads up, but it's like the recession is like, hey, girl, back again, even stronger, hopefully. So it's like, yikes. Honestly, just in
Mm,
general, if you can hear the sound of our voices, save, save, save. Because
yep.
recessions, are hard, and cash is queen during recessions. because you don't know what is going to, like, honestly, because I'm a nervous Nelly, I have 1 year's worth of emergency fund saved. I'm excessive. And meanwhile, I've got a successful business and yada, yada, yada. But the last recession decimated my finances. I ain't going back there. I ain't going
Mm.
back. And so I have 1 year saved. And that way, I have a year to figure out what to do in case everything falls apart. So just to give you like a
Yep.
point of reference. We're not just talking about it. We be being about it over here.
All right. Molly Moore. I keep wanting to say Molly Moore. Her name's not Molly Moore. It's just your children's book. Check it out, mollymoore.com. I'm sure you have that domain. You probably have every domain.
Girl, all of that. It's M-A-L-I,
All
M-A-L-I-M-O-R-E. If you want to teach the
We
babies
have
about money.
not forgotten about Molly Moore at all. Rio's almost old enough to not rip the pages in half, so I might read it to him soon. It's board books or bust right now. He's destructive.
I know.
All right, Miss Molly, thank you so much for your question. Again, if you guys want to leave us a question, you can hit us up. Go to brownambitionpodcast.com and ask us anything, or direct message us on Instagram. We are at Brown Ambition Podcast on the gram, or brownambitionpodcast@gmail.com.
.com.